Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, my name is Helen Saps, and today I'll be drafting a basic sketch pattern. These are some of the materials that I'll be using to draft this pattern: a pencil, my ruler, my tape, my scissors, eraser just in case of any mistake, board marker just in case the pencil is not clear enough, and of course the curve, which I might or might not use, and my measurements, which will be showing on the screen. Yeah, so let's get into the video. So for the purpose of this video, this will be serving as the start point, and this is going to be the length of the skirt. So first of all, I'll have to measure 1/2 inch down from this line to get the waist of the skirt, and I've already marked the 1/2 inch, so you just 1/2 inch down. I always have issues with straight lines, so I have to mark equally, but if you don't have an issue, you can always mark the first and then roll over. So I'm just going to draw this line. Okay, so right now I'll be marking the points, which includes the hip points and the length of the skirt. So for my hip points, I'll be using 9 inches, but I intend to use a 1 inch band for this skirt, so I'll be taking out 1 inch before marking the 9 inches for the skirt, for the hip point, sorry. Then for the length of the skirt, I'll be using 19 inches for the length of the skirt, an extra 2 inches for hemming allowance, and I'll just go ahead and mark the same here. So yes, so let's mark out our waist measurement. So waist measurement is 29, and 29 divided by 4 is 7.25, sorry. And to get this with your tape, we have 29 waist measurements, and then if you want to divide by 4, this is folded into 2, that's divided by 2, and from the where it was at 2, which is 14.5, divided by 2 again, that's the 7.25. That's how I got 7.25. So from our start point, we're going to measure 7.25. Then the next measurement is going to be our hip measurements, which is 43. 43 divided by 4, we do the same measurements. 43 that's 10.75. So I'm going to mark 10.75 here. So because the skirt is a short skirt and won't want it to pencil, if you were doing a pencil skirt, you could have removed like 2 inches from the measurements on the hips. But because it's a short skirt, I won't want to be uncomfortable, so we'll just take the exact measurements on the hips down to the length of the skirt. So guys, because I wanted this skirt to have that's 1 inch dart, so I'm going to add extra 1 inch to the waist of the skirt. So I'm just going to connect from here to here and then to the length of the skirt, but before then I will label this the So I couldn't use the curve ruler because of the space I had here, so I had to use the rule and I had to make sure I curve in the lines to avoid any pointed sides. So guys, this is the front pattern of the skirt. I'm going to use this front to draft out the back after cutting it. So guys, please notice that there's no allowance that added to this skirt whatever, aside from the waistband, half inch added at the waistband, and then the hemming allowance at the length. Aside from that, there was no extra allowance. When you are cutting on your fabric, please do well to add half an inch or 1 inch for sewing allowance. So before drafting the back pattern, I decided we should include the darts that we already gave allowance for. So I'm going to be using, so this 4 inches, I got it when you measure your nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 divided by 2, that is 4. So I'm going to mark 4 here and also 4 on the waistline. Then I'm going to connect this line to this line. I'm going to go up by 2 inches. I added 1 inch as my dart allowance, so I'm going to mark half inch on both sides. So half inch on this side and the other half inch on this side. So I'm just going to connect the half inch to these points here. So let's go back to the back pattern. So guys, please don't forget that the front pattern is always supposed to be on a fold because there's no space in the middle, except maybe you want to add a zip allowance in the front. But when sewing a skirt, the front pattern is always in fold. So we are about to draw the back pattern. So I'm going to show you the major difference between the front and the back. So I'm going to be adding a 2 inches allowance here, and it's going to be for the zip allowance. So I'm going to be that's the major difference between the back pattern and the front pattern. So I'm going to be adding a 2-inch allowance here. So every other measurement will be starting from this measurement. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer all measurements on the front pattern to the back pattern. So I'm just going to mark the hip points. The waist points. And the length of the skirts. going to go ahead and label the waistline, the hip, the length of the skirt, and the hemming allowance. That's the into 2 inches for the hemming allowance. Then I'm going to go over to the waistline and I'm going to come in towards the zip allowance by 1 inch. Then on the hip, I'm going to come in by 1.5 inches. I'm going to measure 5 inches from the hip line downwards. Then from there, I'll measure 1 inch to the length of the skirt, 5 inches. Then from the 5 inches, I'm going to go out by 1 inch to the length of the skirt. After that, I'll just go ahead and use my rule to connect the lines from the length of the skirt, the heel, and to the waist of the skirt. With this, we are almost done with our back pattern. So guys, the only thing left for me to do now is to add the darts for the back, and that will be what I'll be doing now. We'll also be using 4 inches for darts. The 4 inches, mark the 4 inches on the waist, on the hip. Then we'll also mark the 4 inches on the waistline. Please don't forget that the 4 inches is going to be starting from the center back and not from the zip allowance. You're marking from the center back, not from the zip allowance. I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines from the hip to the waistline. Then, just like we did at the front pattern, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. Then connect the lines, half an inch on both sides on the waistline. I'm just going to go ahead to connect the lines now. That is all for our back pattern, guys. So right now I'm just going to cut out the pattern. So, and don't forget, like I said, there's no allowance on the sides of this skirt. When you're cutting on your fabric, you have to add the allowance on the side of the skirt. So guys, we're almost done with our pattern for the skirt. So this is the back pattern, and then you have to go back to the front pattern to adjust the waist of it in the front pattern. So we want our waist to have this curvy U shape. Just come down by half an inch from the waistline and then connect it to the other end of the waistline. So right now I'm just trying to fold in the darts, so I will get the appropriate measurements or the appropriate cutting. Struggling to get the dart in place. I could get the appropriate placement to cut. So guys, when I was about to cut, I decided to change my mind and make it curve up instead towards the end of the ridge. I decided to do some allowance and use my curve mirror. So I just continued with the cutting from there. And yeah, this was the outcome. So guys, we're done with this video. This is the back pattern of the skirts and this is the front pattern of the skirts. Thank you for watching. If you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I post new videos, and please don't forget to drop a thumbs up. Ciao.